Hi, I'm Jacob Weinstein. I'm a junior management major here at St. Bonaventure, and I'm from Buffalo, New York. I'm also a huge fan of the NBA and basketball, so I decided to do my book report on basketball analytics by Stephen Shea and Christopher Baker. This book was very fascinating for me, so it was an easy read that I found quite enjoyable. I hope you get a quick understanding and summary of what this book is all about. And now on to the book report. Basketball Analytics by Stephen Shea and Christopher Baker goes over the objectives and efficient strategies for understanding how teams win in the NBA. This book uses mostly data from the 2012 and 2013 season, so it is a little outdated compared to the amount of data and analytics that is used today in the NBA. Also, some of the things that Shea and Baker talked about that would revolutionize the game of basketball, such as shooting threes or positionless basketball with stretch forwards, has already happened and has shown to be the way successful basketball teams play now. The perfect example of this is the Golden State Warriors and their dynasty that occurred from 2015 to 2019. However, the book still does an effective job in going through different patterns of analytics used in basketball. Our class defines the purpose of analytics as enabling better decision making, exploring decision making, and identifying some of the barriers to making good decision making. This book relates to data analytics because it is about data analytics and how they apply in basketball and how teams use this information to better their win probability. Examples of data analytics that were discussed are offensive efficiency, efficient offensive production, defensive stops gained, and approximate value. Offensive efficiency reflects a player's ability to make the most fundamental offensive decisions. Efficient offensive production adjusts a player's points and assists based on his efficiency. Defensive stops gained gives a complete measure of a player's defensive contributions without relying on individual player stats like blocks and steals. And approximate value is a measure of total player performance that rivals any publicly available statistic. This here is an example of a table that shows some of the analytics that are used in today's NBA. Some of these analytics are a little bit ahead of Christopher Baker and Stephen Shea's time. However, it shows the progression that analytics has come in the NBA. The example that I wanted to talk about was VORP, which is value over replacement player, and that's to the right of the table highlighted in yellow. The higher the number, the higher the value of the player to their team. As you look to the left, the guys who are at the top of this list, including James Harden, Giannis, LeBron James, Damian Lillard, Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis, all of these guys are star players in the league, and VORP does a good job in showing why they're so much more valuable than the replacement players on their team. The other example from this table that could be discussed is if you see at the top of the table USG percentage, which is usage rate, shows how often the player has the ball in their hands and how much of the time they're taking the shots or they're involved in the play. This has been very common with James Harden from the Houston Rockets, with his usage rate being very high over the last couple of years, and it is probably going to continue in that fashion unless the Houston Rockets decide to change up the way their offense is played, and if they decide to go to a more team-efficient offense rather than just relying on their star player. Basketball Analytics introduces groundbreaking metrics on player involvement in the offense. Point, rebound, and assist balance aggregate player usage in these critical statistics. New studies on the NBA show whether teams should strive for balance or unbalance. An NBA draft pick value study determines the average value of each pick and the likelihood of landing a star or role player with each draft position. The results of this study are used to discuss topics including the biggest draft blunders and steals, the draft success of each NBA team, and the quality of each draft class dating back to 1977. This valuable understanding of the NBA draft creates a foundation for discussing various approaches to team development and construction. Additionally, the authors discuss redefining the positions on the court, unpredictability in the game, data visualization, and applications of spatial tracking technology. My favorite part in the book is whenever I would learn about a new analytical way to look at how good or valuable a player is, because if you look at the tables, LeBron James would always be in the top 5 and generally first. This was my favorite part because LeBron is my favorite player and won my favorite team, the Los Angeles Lakers, the championship this year. So the data solidifies his greatness and that he is the greatest player of all time or the GOAT. Sorry, Michael Jordan fans. My other favorite part of the book is what I touched upon earlier of when the authors would predict how the league would shift in the future, and I would know that they were correct because the future they predicted is my present. I enjoyed these parts because to see that the data they went through was correct shows how valuable the analytics really were to how the game was going to change in the NBA. In conclusion, Basketball Analytics by Stephen Shea and Christopher Baker is a great deep dive into the world of analytics in basketball and the NBA. And as a huge fan of the NBA, this book gave me a better understanding of the players in the game I love. Go Lakers!